Did I do it?
I don't know. I'll be live.
I think we
It
are.
says we're live in the corner. You know what? You know what's bad? We've been doing this live stuff on YouTube for how long now? Over a year, I'd say. And we still haven't got it down. It's been a year. You'd think after a full year. Let me move my microphone. You know what? Fuck it. That's just a great fucking start. I'm having a rant that we can't do anything right, and my fucking microphone's all the way over here in fucking Antarctica. Let me move it a bit closer, and then we'll be good. Okay.
I mean, I would help you, but I've got my hands full.
Is that a joke? I don't get it.
I mean, look, I've got my hands full.
No, you've got hula hoops on your fingers. That's not your hands full. Those are your fingers are in crisps.
I don't see what the difference is.
Well, the difference is a hand compared to your fingers, right? Hand, fingers, fingers, hand, fingers. So you need to. And we're alive! And welcome to another edition of the Suplah. I am Liam.
I'm Sam with a handful.
We also have a new fella who's joined us in the chat. The all talking, no walking Stephen Hawking is in the chat. No word of a lie. That's his legit name. And I've got to say, that's probably the best username. That's the best fucking username I've ever seen on YouTube. Hands down, he's won it. He's won the game. He's won it.
Why is it that we are the ones who always get the weird usernames? Like, we got the all-talking, no walking Stephen Hawking.
I love it.
We got Vince McMahon. We have Dragon Ball Z characters.
I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's brilliant because
neither would I. I'm just questioning why they're here.
This is why we do these live shows. This is why this is becoming more of a regular thing, because we get characters like this showing up. And not only do we entertain you guys, or at least try to, we don't know how successful we are, probably about 30% of the time, but you entertain us.
Sure. Jesus fucking Christ.
But
I mean, anyway, we might be at least 30% entertaining today. Not sure any other day.
Hey, that's better than 20%, which is what you would get if it was just Andy.
It's also better than 25%.
There you go. I mean,
better than like 29 other percentages.
I mean, look at the glass half full. You know, it's better than 29%.
And anyway, I see y'all in the chat shit talking me, being like, "God damn it, Andy, have you forgotten how to do it?" He's not here. That's why we're doing it this way. Because one, I can't be fucked to edit a show with me and Liam in it. I just can't.
What's that meant to me?
Beyond... When was the last time you and me did a single thing together?
Let's not talk about that. That's not the point, right? That was many years ago. We have evolved since then. We are now Charizards.
We've evolved, right? Oh god, don't fucking talk to me about Charizard. Oh, I'm getting so much.
What's wrong? What's wrong? Before we get into the news, let's talk about Sam's life. If this was a pre-recorded show, we'd have a little title, but it's not. It's live.
Just pretend.
So what's going on is. Where's a piece of paper?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need. Don't need paper.
Sam's life in Italy, apparently. Sam's life. There you go. Right.
Buongiorno. Fucking Pokemon. Alright? If you are subscribed to our gaming channel, which you should be.
Well done. Well done on the plug there. Well done.
I have started a new series, Pokemon Leaf Green, with a Nuzlocke hard mode challenge. I was waiting for a reaction to that notion. But...
I see. Okay. Ooh. It's a pantomime.
He's behind you.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing the Nuzlocke.
Tell you later. Sorry. Go on. Anyway.
You're in it as the rival.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You clearly haven't watched it then. Oh, I'm sad now.
It's as if I got a fucking job. No, I've watched the first part, but I must have missed the bit where I was crowned the rival. I don't know why I'm the rival.
Well,
I've got a couple of questions. I've got a couple of questions about your Nuzlocke on the Suplah Gaming channel, which you can find just by Googling Suplah Gaming. We don't have an actual URL yet because we need 100 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed and you enjoy our stuff, then go and help us by subscribing to the gaming channel.
We've had it up for a year and we're halfway there to getting a custom URL.
To be fair, because of PewDiePie, now the gaming channel makes more than the wrestling channel. PewDiePie. Or racist. PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Racist.
The guy that says the N-word at least once a year and everyone is still surprised that he says it sometimes. But anyway.
Yeah, well,
it's another
the point is, I've got a question
Nuzlocke.
about your Nuzlocke. Why did you name your Mankey?
Because it's a small, angry female.
Ah, I get it now. Right.
And that's not even the fucking cause of my woes and my problems lately. The main cause of my woes and problems is what I named my Charmander.
Lizard.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, that entire evolutionary line, specifically Charizard, are lizards. Not dragons. Charizard looks like a dragon. He has dragon-type moves, but he's not a dragon. He's a lizard. In Japan, he's called Lizardon. Lizard. It's in the name. But Carmine and Lizzie, the Antonellis, have not stopped giving me grief over that fucking fact. Over that, not even an opinion, a fact that he is a lizard that looks like a dragon. He's not a dragon. He's not dragon type. He looks like more like a European dragon than a Japanese dragon, but nevertheless, he's not a dragon. But apparently I'm getting persecuted for that fucking viewpoint.
So there's a Mega Charizard. I think it's Mega Charizard Y.
I know Mega Charizard X becomes a dragon type, but this is...
Oh, is it X?
Yeah, I think it is. It's the one where he goes black and with blue flames and all that stuff. But yeah, that's not in this generation, so I don't count that. He looks like a dragon, yeah, but he's not. He's a lizard.
Okay, let's reach a middle ground.
All right.
The reptile, right there. That should suit everybody.
He's a reptile. All right, I can agree to that.
A reptile isn't necessarily a lizard, but it's not necessarily a dragon either. It's part of this. Well, I mean, dragons aren't. Well, unless you think Komodo. I'm getting way too simple.
He's a reptar.
Raptor.
Hear him roll.
There you go. So anyway, we're here to talk about wrestling.
Yeah, apparently
about wrestling, and I think one of the big things that we've kind of neglected to talk about, and it was a big thing on the Suplah channel for a while, was the WWE games. And the reason why I think we've all kind of neglected to talk about the WWE 2K games is that I feel ever since THQ went out of business and 2K's taken the license, 2K hasn't really pumped out a good game. 2K15 was underwhelming and boring. 2K16 was better, but the showcase was a lot shorter. And then, I mean, we've got to talk about 2K17. I've made it no secret that I have found that game incredibly disappointing, shallow, boring, career mode. Just there was nothing to it, and I think the thing is that after having something like the Austin showcase, and then you go into 2K17, and I felt for months like there's got to be something else besides my career. There's got to be something else. And there wasn't. And the only kind of thing that happens is that you make a guy, and then he goes through tutorials in NXT or in the Performance Center, and then it's kind of just look at the draw as to where you go on the card. Do you go to NXT, the United States Championship? Do you go for the Tag Team Championship? It's kind of look at the draw. Apparently there is like, it depends on how well you do, but the fact is that the game was shit. It wasn't very good. Like, okay, maybe it's not shit, but it just wasn't very deep. But I think the problem that I had for me was that I spent £50 on that game. And £50, £50 is a lot for a game that, honestly, like, I've been playing Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is a 7-hour game. It's not a very long game. I paid 25 quid and I got 2 other free games with it. So not only was it half the price, but I'm playing it a hell of a lot more. I'm having a lot more fun, and it came with a lot more content overall for half the price. And I think that's why I've been so harsh on 2K17. And that's why, and I'm saying it now, I'm not getting 2K18 on release day. There's not going to be, unless Carmine wants to take it, or if Brendan wants to take it, or if Andy won't take it. Andy won't fucking do anything. But if somebody else wants to take a Let's Play of 2K18, then by all means they can. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting it on release day because I'm not spending up to £50 for a game that, frankly, I got burnt with in the past series. And I feel like, for me, I'm justified in saying that. A lot of people have said that it's quite shallow. I know it's got its fans, and that's fine. It can have its fans. But I don't know. Did you ever play 2K17?
No, I think the last WWE game I played, but I bought myself, was SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. So I'm a little bit off with the current models. Although I was given WWE 13 by a friend, I couldn't play it. Something happened between SmackDown vs. Raw and the changeover to like the 2K series, where the gameplay just got overly complicated, and I just didn't have fun with it. I know it's become more and more of a simulation game over time. Yeah. I think the last like outlandish game that anyone ever put out was All Stars, and that was like the last great WWE game from what I've heard.
I didn't really rate All Stars, I got to be honest, but I mean, I just didn't. I think
it's probably like rose-tinted glasses more than anything, and because every single game is now a simulation game, people are sort of yearning for the ridiculous body types and the fucking outlandish finishing moves and all that kind of junk.
You look at the Immortals game on mobile, and you can kind of see that's kind of the spiritual sequel. I was going to say spiritual sequel to All Stars.
Alvin and Chipmunks for Squeakquel.
There you go. But anyway, I don't know. For me, All Stars I couldn't really get into, but I guess that's just because I was so used to the SmackDown games, and it was a bit more realistic and a bit more slower. But yeah, so we've got 2K18 coming out. And I've been keeping quiet. They've done some of the roster reveals. You know, they've announced even more stars. Apparently, Papa Shango is going to be in there now. That was released.
Yay! Papa Shango.
That news was released today. Yesterday they announced Mince. Who's Mince McMahon? Who the fuck is
Mince? He really likes beef.
He just loves beef. I love beef. Damn it. Anyway, apparently Vince is going to be a playable character. That was announced yesterday. But one thing that everyone wants to know, because now they're not doing showcases anymore. They've come out and said they're not going to do a showcase. There's not even going to be a DLC showcase like there was for 2K17, right? It's gone. Showcase is dead, long gone. Rest in peace. So now it's going to focus on my career, and my player is what they call your character in my career. And
it's not called that at all. Like, they put out a press release saying, my player is the name that all people use all the time. And it's like, no, it's a CAW. It's a core.
No. If you use it in my career, they're called my players.
That's like the difference between calling somebody a wrestler and a WWE superstar.
It's like calling them fans of the WWE universe.
Right. It's like naming a belt after your fans, but everyone thinks it's about the literal universe.
It's funny if you think about it as the literal universe, though.
I mean, yeah, it's funny to imagine Brock Lesnar on Omicron Persei 8 defending the belt, but
well, it explains why he's not there defending the belt every other month. He's off on other planets.
Nice. The people who have gone to Mars are as follows: David Bowie, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Kevin Owens.
But
yeah, if anyone's a Universal Champion, they've been across the universe. That's
a good point. That's a good point.
But no, you're the champion of the WWE Universe. What does that mean?
I'm not even going to go into it. But anyway, what was I saying? My player, I think, was I was going to go into a rant and say I played a couple of the NBA games, which 2K also do. I've only done the preludes because they're free on the PlayStation Store. Sam, do you want to talk?
Yeah, we have a chat that has people in it, and we should talk to those people. Maybe they can get their words out right. We have Troy Dixon, who says, Liam just made a new wrestler to make for Carmine with Vince McMahon, to which Bullet Club says, does Vince McMahon get a headbutt by Kevin Owens?
Well, Kevin Owens would just eat him.
Oh, I get it. He's fat.
No, it's because he's mince. What else do you do with mince, Sam?
M. Gunter says, does Vince McMahon like big sweaty meat? You see what you do when you fucking mince your words? You create this chaos.
I see what you did there. It happens a lot. It's live. What can I say?
M. Gunter says 2K17 is better as a multiplayer game. Is it?
Well, I'm not a multiplayer person. I don't like multiplayer games, so that's probably why I don't like it.
There you go. People are saying that 2K18 looks promising, including the career mode. Woofy says that he hasn't been hyped for a WWE game since SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. So well over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, 06 was a very, very good game. I think like, for me, the last good WWE game that I can think of was, ironically, even though you said you couldn't play it, was WWE 13, because the Attitude Era mode was really, really good.
And it did have Jinder Mahal as a playable character, if I remember right.
That's just, that was the fucking epitome of the game, Jinder Mahal.
Right, yeah. It's the in thing to pretend that Jinder Mahal is actually anything good.
Yeah,
right?
I was watching SmackDown last night as I was going to bed, and the fucking crowd's chanting Maharaja. It's just like, I don't know if they're doing it ironically now, or if they're actually
That's all it's ever been. Don't hinder the Jinder is the most pushed ironic thing in the entire world, and look where it got us.
I thought James Ellsworth was.
He's second.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing Don't Hinder Jinder for like 4 years now.
Yeah, but James Ellsworth did get hired by the company because of it. Like, he was just he wasn't even a jobber. He's
not world champion, though, like Jinder.
He did have a world championship match.
But he didn't win! Jinder won! And hasn't lost since.
It's sad. You know what's really sad? Shinsuke Nakamura's first loss on the main roster to Jinder Mahal. Just think about that for a minute there. If you could go back 2 years or so, even last year, could you imagine saying that?
It makes me want to cry.
It's awful.
But anyway, enough about Jinder. The all talking, no walking Stephen Hawking says, I am back, I just went for a walk. There's something wrong with that. Something wrong with that sentence.
So 2K18, sorry, they've the developers have released some information about my career. So I'm just going to kind of see if I can go through it really quickly. I didn't write any bullet points because I've literally just finished doing some freelancing. So apologies, I haven't had a chance to sort it out.
I have a job, I work. All right, great.
Oh, don't get jealous. Don't get fucking jealous, mate. Anyway, the point is that there's going to be a big emphasis on WrestleMania this year, which is good. Because I remember discussing, I think, a couple of months ago, not long after the game had come out, that one of the things that happened in my career in 2K17 was that I had 3 matches at WrestleMania. I was defending the Tag Team Championship with my partner, Lance Zander, against Braun Strowman and Jey Uso. That was a tag team. Yep. I then, in the next match, beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. That was the second match on the card, by the way. And then the main event of WrestleMania was me versus Kalisto.
What?
Yeah, that was the main event. No stipulation, no fucking match, no title. That was the match. It was as if it was Rock versus Cena, but my created derpy character against fucking Kalisto.
At least that had a year's build to it. This one just happened. It just happened.
It just happened. There was no reason for it. There was no reason. Anyway, so they've made a bit more of an emphasis about WrestleMania. And they said that they say this year you'll have 2 different paths you can take en route to your own WrestleMania moment. Although they do note you'll be able to play past WrestleMania. Your story won't end there. So there's 2 paths. The first path is called the Company Man. And they say, this path means that you're all about helping the general managers get what they want out of the roster on any given show. This involves conspiring with the GMs backstage, ambushing other WWE superstars in the locker room or during their interviews, and basically doing whatever it takes to maintain that GM's power, both in the ring and backstage. The rewards are hefty, though. Continue helping the GM succeed, and you'll gain access to awesome upgrades, such as the ability to orchestrate a run-in to help you win a match. You can also access Vince McMahon's office to lobby for match card changes and title rematches. So essentially, the Company Man is the Triple H of 2003 mode. In that you are a heel and you can kind of book yourself into particular matches for the belt. The second path that you can take is called the Fan Favorite. Being a fan favorite means you don't play the company game, and you're all about putting on the best matches and promos. You have a locker room full of WWE superstars and legends backstage. This route involves earning their respect by taking on different match types, night in and night out. You'll also have different WWE superstars test your in-ring aptitude and skills on the microphone. But if you succeed at this, you will earn the whole locker room's respect. And with that comes some perks. WWE legends are always backstage during events. If you earn their respect, there's a lot about respect in this, I've noticed. They'll start to give you in-ring bonuses for your matches and promos. If you become the complete package, the guy who can walk the walk and talk the talk, like Steve Austin or John Cena, you'll be able to have your own customized WWE or Universal Championship belt. This honor is only given to the best of the best.
See, if all of this was in 2K17, like some say it should have been, we would have made Derek into something that much worse.
Oh, yeah.
The Derek...
Can you imagine the Derek world title?
No, who would want that? Everyone's like, no, I'll just jump over to SmackDown. Like, you can keep that.
I just want purple with his face on it.
I don't know. In a way, I'm glad it wasn't in 2K17. So we didn't have to fucking live with that in existence. I'm happy with that just being an idea.
One of the other things that they've mentioned as well is that free roaming is coming back. This is something that was
free roaming. I'm excited for this.
This was something that was last in SmackDown versus Raw 2011, I believe. That was the last free roaming where you could.
Yeah, and before that it was like, what? Here Comes the Pain, something like that.
Yeah,
one of the old SmackDown games.
I think before that was Shut Your Mouth, actually, which was 2002, which was 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's probably that one. Yeah. So the SmackDown games, and then it went away until 2011, and now it's back again.
And now it's back again. It's funny that it's something that people always ask for, and then they bring it, and then the next iteration is fucking gone. Always happens. Anyway, so they've stated that what the whole backstage situation is going to be is that it's going to be removing the menus. If you've watched our Let's Plays or anybody's Let's Plays, or even if you have the game yourself, you'll notice that one of the big things that you kind of run into every time you play My Career is that it's just menu after menu. You have a menu, then you have a menu, then you have a match, then a menu, 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 match, menu, menu, match. So what they're doing is that this is going to be acting as the menu, essentially. So from here, it says, according to the developers, rather than looking at menus to determine who you should align with or who you want to make your rival, you can simply go and talk to them or ambush them backstage. Want an interview with Mae Young? Simply go up to her and ask for an interview. Don't like the WWE superstar she's interviewing? Go up to him during live TV and interrupt that interview. There will be no shortage of personalities backstage, from WWE superstars and legends to GMs, apparel tailors, which means that you can go up to the seamstress, and I'm guessing that's where you customize your ring gear, and more. Sometimes the interactions will also present side quests that are separate from the main storylines. I fucking love this. This is something that they need.
It's great, because I just imagine, like, you're playing as Derek, and then all of a sudden, like, Big Show comes up to you and is like, "Can you find my burrito? I'll give you some gold if you give me my burrito." And there's just like an item bartering that eventually leads up to you giving Vince McMahon the burrito, and then he fires you because you call it a burrito when really it's a steak wrap.
I think that would be probably one of the best / worst side missions you could possibly get.
The best side mission.
The best side mission. But as well as that, they've also said that they're updating promos, which is something like the fucking promo engine from the last year's game was something that just it turned me off from the game completely, because it was so inconsistent and incoherent, and you didn't know how to. I didn't understand how the fuck that you won a promo or you lost a promo. You thought I'd say this sentence because this makes sense with the previous sentence, but no. Now the crowd's booing me for some reason, or if you're a bad guy, the crowd's cheering me, and I don't really know why. I'm saying that I'm going to kick John Cena's
town
ass.
Sucks. Yeah, we do suck.
Yeah, this town sucks. You got cheers. What? That doesn't make sense.
Got a great point, Sting.
But they've also they've added like new animations for some of the characters, like Enzo, Undertaker, New Day, Shinsuke, Bray Wyatt. They've all got new animations for their promos, so apparently they will look and act more in character as opposed to last year where everyone basically acted and looked the same. So New Day will dance their way to the ring. Undertaker will take about 5 years to get there, so good luck with that. Enzo will do his weird...
press a button to set him on fire to increase the speed at which he goes.
You know, that should be the mini game. That should be the side quest. Vince is just like...
Rig the pyro to set someone on fire and you'll get 50 gold.
Vince is just like, hey, my player character, if you set Undertaker on fire so we can start this match now, I'll give you a title match for the... Vince, are you all right? I think the game's broken. No, Vince is broken.
Oh,
okay, all right. Well, I'm just gonna walk while see things.
Okay.
Okay, Vince. Okay. Oh, Lizzie's here, by the way. Lizzie's here.
Yeah, they're fine, by the way. Irma happened and they're fine. Don't worry. Everyone's asking.
Yeah,
are they okay? Are they dead? No, they're fine.
There was a hurricane. I forgot there was a hurricane.
You think a hurricane is going to stop the Antonellis? No.
Stand back! There's a hurricane! You know, I probably shouldn't be saying that.
God damn it, Liam.
I mean, at least it's a warning sign. Anyway, the point is what do you think to this? Because I feel like I've kind of taken control of this entire discussion.
Just a smidge, but that's fine. You've played more of the modern games than I have. Your opinion stands more to reason than mine would. I only really care about the 2K series now with regards to our Brawl series, in terms of character customization, all of that kind of thing. And the Creative Suite has gotten some upgrades this year as well. Like, you can now create a match.
Yeah, that's going to be really handy. That was something that, ironically, was in the last gen version of 2K17. They never ported it over to the current generation of the PS4s and the Xbox Ones. It was in the last one because they had that for a while. They had that for a couple of years, and it was always in the last generation versions of the games, but it wasn't in the current generations. It's about time they're moving it over, because one thing that the WWE fans and the 2K gaming fans want is customization. And you know, it's strange that they give some and then they take some away, and then they give some and then they take some away. Like, one thing that I've always have been so annoyed at is the fact that you can't have custom entrance music for your characters, even though you could fucking do it in like WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2010 on the PS3. Like, why is that not a thing now? So you have to be stuck with shitty stock music with doves flying in the background. Like, it's so stupid. But yeah,
don't even get me started on like Titantrons. You can't even do custom Titantrons. Like, well, surely you should be able to.
Well, you can now, but for me, I just find it like, I'm not that big into Andy's fucking. He will make everything and anyone, as you probably could tell from watching some of the Let's Plays that we've done. He loves just creation. For me, I find it really tedious because I'm just like, well, in a fucking year's time, I've got to do it all again. That's just boring me. Like, I do not feel bad for Carmine, in all honesty, because he's got to fucking recreate God knows how many characters we have in Brawl now. And he's got to painstakingly. Why haven't they just made a thing where you can go, oh, these are your characters from the last game. Here you go. Let's put them in this game. Why is that such a difficult fucking concept? I understand that things change, but surely, fucking surely, you can do that.
No, if you want Derek to exist, you have to remake him every single year.
And that's how Derek dies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not big into it personally, but I can see like a big appeal. I think the lighting has been improved, although looking at the screenshots on the 2K website, they don't look that different from last year's game. I don't know if it's just me being a bit blind, but
well, I've been watching entrance videos and it definitely looks different, but never pay attention to the screenshots they release, because they literally never look like the finished thing. I actually took a shot of John Cena from 2K15, the preview pic they put out, where he looks like really like detailed and really muscular, and then I found a screen grab of him in the game and he looks like a potato with a hat on. Like, it just doesn't translate ever. Like, it really doesn't. People have already done it. They've released preview footage of Seth Rollins, and they've done a screenshot of him, and it looks like two totally different people. One of them looks like Tama Tonga, the other one looks like Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
like, don't pay attention to the fucking screenshots. They're never accurate at any point. But I think the lighting upgrade was desperately needed, because all of the games kind of look the same, and you can at least change that to make it look different. But the one thing that annoys me about the 2K series is some of the animations that don't change at all. They've had the same exit animations in a Royal Rumble match.
Still in there from Here Comes the Fucking Pain.
Yeah, they've not changed some of them. The fucking exit animations from Royal Rumble matches haven't changed since 2012. That's too long. Everyone always looks mad. They always bang the turnbuckle, then they raise their fist a bit, like, whoa, and then that's it every single year. Why not change that? Doesn't make sense.
No,
but no, I'm excited for the creative suite this year, and I'm excited for the. They said they were going to put in a story mode. I don't know if that's
that's they've, because I think we're not the only ones who have complained about the lack of focus that my career had in 2K17, because there was no focus. Like I said, in one WrestleMania, I had 3 matches where the main event was me versus Kalisto. I was a fucking WWE champion. I beat Brock Lesnar in the second match, and yet for some reason the main event was me versus Kalisto. No belt was on the line, no fucking match stipulation, right? It was just me versus Kalisto in the main event of WrestleMania.
The dream match, 3 months in the making,
right? So it was. So they're saying that 2K18's my career is going to be more focused, which is why they said that it's going to be about the road to WrestleMania. So you'll probably be starting just the night after WrestleMania and going through that. And it says that you can play past WrestleMania, but I feel like the first year is going to have the most story related stuff. And then everything after that will just be kind of like, oh, you want to grind so that your character's as strong as they possibly can be. Okay. I think that's what I feel it's going to be. But while some of this sounds really interesting, I like the idea that there's going to be a bit more of an emphasis between good guys and bad guys, as opposed to, you know, oh, you're a good guy unless you join Paul Heyman, in which case you're automatically the top heel of the company. I like the idea that there's going to be, you know, rewards for either side, because they tried to do that last year with the Authority, but it didn't really make sense, because it was like, oh, if you put on a 5-star match and lose to Heath Slater on SmackDown, we'll give you 400 VC. And you're just like, well, if I put on a 5-star match and beat Heath Slater, I'll earn 2,500 VC. So that I earn more. Why are you trying to get me to do this, Triple H? It doesn't make sense.
No, but if you lose, Triple H will look at you funny.
Yeah, he'll be grayed out and sad.
Yeah. Except when you do well and he looks at you, he's like, oh.
And then he looks a bit too turned on. But I like the idea. I don't know if I like the idea that there's going to be a load of legends backstage. That's just probably personal preference. I think that's trying to be like, that's my main issue with most of these 2K games nowadays. It's just like, look, we have attitude here, guys. Look, Austin, Rock, look, Kane,
look, Papa Shango.
Papa Shango, look, remember Shango? Yeah. No, go away. What, like, just stop, right? Just make it about current guys. But I do like the idea. I like the idea that you can customize the world title if you get it as a good guy. I like the idea that you get bonuses for acting as a heel or a face. However, get the fucking Kurt Angle pre-order. It's not.
What about the Seen Enough edition, where you get Rivada and Batista as playable characters, even though you can play as them anyway?
Oh, so you want those guys? Okay. If you want the Seen Enough version where you can get RVD and Batista early, that's £115.
No one with the right mind would do that. Why? Oh no, you get a tiny little square of a ring canvas. If all of the people who buy the Seen Enough edition come together, they can make a ring canvas. I don't understand their weird obsession with making these special editions with like 50 fucking prizes along with it. Like, you get this really good Shinsuke Nakamura statue. Like, and the thing that buy the game. Yeah, just buy the game.
I'd rather just 2K, like, just fucking put some fucking effort into the game, as opposed to putting effort into being like, oh, get the Seen Enough version where you get a bit of canvas and a Cena statue, and you can play Rob Van Dam and Batista 3 months early. It's like the gold edition of 2K18, right? The gold edition is going for about £60-70, right? Not only do you, I think you get like the season pass with that, you also get the game early. You know how early?
4 days.
You know 4 fucking days early. I'm not that desperate to play. I've got 2K17. I've got 16. I've got 15. I've got all of them. I can play them now. I'm not that desperate.
No, you need to play 4 days early or someone's gonna die.
Oh, I've got to play as an updated Jinder Mahal. I just have to do it now. Like, fuck
He's
off.
not even the most current version. He's the version where he had the dumb breathing gimmick.
And
where
doesn't
he
he have like the
breathed.
short hair as well?
I think. All I know is I've seen the screenshot of him with the turban and like the coat that he wears, and he's doing the hook hand thing. But he looks like Jinder Mahal when he was in those anger management promos with Enzo, where he was breathing. Remember that time where he had the breathing gimmick?
Let's not talk about. You know, I'm.
That's the thing they went with, not current Maharaja with the good entrance and the Singh brothers. No, breathe in, breathe out. That's the version they went for.
I wouldn't mind these kind of promotional things of these. Oh, you can get it in a steel book with some trading cards that are signed and a piece of ring canvas and a statue, and you can get some DLC early. I wouldn't mind that if it wasn't a game that came out every fucking year, because you know what? They're going to expect you to do it again next year. Anyway, apparently we should move on.
Yeah, everyone's yelling at us to move on, even though we talk about one topic for a show all the time anyway. Let's just move on.
Apparently, have we got anything to talk about?
Yeah,
I'm angry.
we got Kevin Owens beating up Vince McMahon on SmackDown and making him bleed from a headbutt.
Okay, right, let's discuss
Pretty
this.
Cool. I liked that. I thought that was cool. We're finally getting, like, Steen Kevin rather than Owens Kevin. And I'm liking that.
I think we're missing a big point here with this entire angle.
What's that?
Vince bled.
Yeah.
Do you not see how hypocritical that is?
Yeah.
Batista. Now, I'm not a big fan of Batista personally, right? I've never really seen him as like a big draw.
No, I remember in the first episode you called him a stuck-up old twat.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I've never been a big fan of his. Apparently he's not very nice in real life. He's a bit of a twit to people on Twitter. You see what I did there?
I like Batista. I think he's lovely. I like Drax.
But the thing is that he apparently bladed and he got fined $100,000 for doing that in a steel cage match. I think it was against Chris Jericho.
It was for the World Heavyweight title, I believe.
Yeah. And it's just incredibly hypocritical that Vince, and apparently it was planned because, you know, when I first saw it and read about it and all this sort of stuff, I thought, shit, I mean, he must have really clogged Vince hard. And I thought, fuck, Kevin's going to get into trouble for this. He's clogged the fucking owner and he's making him bleed. And I thought Kevin was going to be like, I wouldn't say fired. They wouldn't fire him, but I thought he was going to be in the doghouse. But no, apparently it was all planned. And Vince, you know, knew that was going to happen. And they did something. Meltzer says that there was something that happened. He cut himself backstage and then he put basically a skin-colored plaster on. And then, yeah. But the point stands was that why... I know why he can do it because he fucking owns it. No one's going to fire him. But it's not really a great example. It's not great to your employees because then it's very much like me and Andy saying to Sam, Carmine, Keelan, Brendan, and everyone else. I'm trying to think of an example here, but I can't think of one.
I'll wait.
Okay, it's just hypocritical. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of anything with that. I should have thought about it before.
Yeah, it's hypocritical, but it added to a cool moment, and it's going to further the Shane Kevin feud, which I'm excited for, to be honest, because we're going to get a sick Hell in a Cell match. It's going to be great.
Well, I'm enjoying it. I thought Kevin's promo against Shane was really quite. It really cut close to the bone, especially when he mentions Shane's getting into the helicopter accident. Like that was a legit thing.
He should have died in the helicopter crash. I'm like, whoa, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Kevin did what Nikki Bella couldn't, which was like, you know, basically insinuate death, but did it in a really, you know, Nikki Bella was just like, I wish you died in the womb. Was like, fuck.
I wish you died in the copter.
Yeah, like, can you imagine if Kevin did that? But
with the same like inflections and everything. Like
yeah,
the entire promo is normal Kevin, but then for that one line, he just does it really weird. And everyone's like, what happened there?
But no, I'm enjoying it. I just found it a little hypocritical of Vince, frankly.
Oh yeah, but Vince is a giant hypocrite anyway. Like he's always been that way. Who cares?
Bullet
But no,
Club
I think
said,
it's good.
Stephanie returned for the first time since Mania. Yes, she did.
Oh yeah,
Triple H also
came out and
returned.
was like, oh, she looked at him real up close and got really mad.
Yeah.
For fuck.
Well, it was interesting in that like it was SmackDown and
yeah, why was she there?
Oh, the Mae Young tournament.
Oh yeah, we should talk about the Mae Young tournament.
I haven't watched it.
Neither have I, but I've been paying attention to the results, and I plan on binging it as soon as I restart the network.
Okay,
which I will do one day.
Because I don't know anyone.
All right, I'll just talk about the finalists.
Okay.
You know the name Kyrie Sane?
No.
All right. She used to be Kairi Hojo in Japan. She has the best elbow drop in the business today. She's wonderful. Pirate Princess is her gimmick. She literally comes out with a pirate wheel and a big hat, and it's wonderful.
That sounds awesome.
Imagine if Bayley wasn't like viewed as like dumb or naive or just a character. Imagine if it was like
I've got it. It's Bayley crossed with Paul Burchill.
You know, you're not wrong. Reference. You're not fucking wrong. That's actually a pretty accurate description.
There you go.
And it's really cool. She doesn't come down on like a rope, although I'd love to see that, but
that'd be amazing.
It would be. But no, she comes out with a pirate wheel and it's great. It was her in the finals against Shayna Baszler. You've heard of her name, I assume. No, all right. Yeah. She's one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA, along with Rousey and all of those
what
people.
just happened? What just happened is you confused me for Andy. And
okay, well, you lived with him for a year. I assume something must have osmosed off of him onto you.
I paid attention to anything he said in an entire year. I've known him 10.
That's very impressive that you managed to ignore someone for a whole year whilst you lived with them.
It's Andy. It's not difficult. Once you get used to the tone of his voice, you can just mute that tone out. You hear everything else. It's kind of like it's like the opposite of like a dog whistle. It's just the opposite of that. You notice a noise and you can just mute that out of your mind. You can just be talking, and then you can hear something go off in the kitchen. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I envy you.
It's amazing. I did live with him for a full 300 days, by the way.
That was your
fault.
I
got used to this. Well, yeah, I realize that now. Why do you think I'm not in Lincoln with him?
Anyway, Shayna Baszler is MMA. That's her thing. She is MMA. She does shoot fighting, and it's really cool.
Well, I mean, there is something that we can discuss leading off from the Mae Young tournament, but I'll let you talk
Well, we didn't discuss the winner yet. So it's them 2 in the finals. You have the basic, like, giant heel in Baszler versus most adorable babyface in the world, Kyrie Sain. Awesome match, filmed in on a SmackDown like evening. It was SmackDown, then it was the Mae Young finals, and then it was 205. I think that's how it went, but it happened there. Everyone beforehand was like, what are you doing showing it on a SmackDown? No one's going to care. Everyone cared, thankfully, because it took them 10 minutes to make Kyrie Sane into the next big women's babyface. Everything Bayley should have been on the main roster, but they just destroyed that with their own hands. But yeah, Kyrie Sane won the Mae Young Classic, and it's revealed by one Triple H that she will be competing for the vacant NXT Women's Championship at the next TakeOver, which is, I think, TakeOver Houston.
Right. So just before we talk about the fallout and what potential spoilers for future pay-per-views concerning the events of the Mae Young Classic, one thing that I want to point out, and I know I've given Andy Jip about this with NXT, because we've all said it's it's a developmental system. And that's essentially what it is. That's its number one thing. But when you look at some people such as Ty Dillinger, Bayley, Enzo, and Cass, let's be honest, both of them, I would say both members of American Alpha, even Chad Jordan, Jason Jordan, that's fucking just an amalgamation of just both of them. That'd be weird. Even with Jason Jordan being revealed as Kurt Angle's son, that's really going nowhere. I don't understand what the point of that was. A lot of the guys from NXT who have been called up kind of just don't do anything, go nowhere. And I feel, personally, would it be better that some people stay in NXT, and not to consider it as a demotion or anything like that, but it's quite clear that there's nothing on the main roster for them. You know, you look at Ty Dillinger. I love Ty Dillinger, right? I know that a lot of people just think he's just a one-hit wonder in terms of his gimmick, and he kind of is, but I kind of love that. But he's doing nothing. Let's be honest. I know he had the match with AJ Styles, but aside from that, the guy's really doing nothing. He's kind of cannon fodder to Baron Corbin, who's being leveled up for AJ in the United States Championship. Aside from that, he's not really doing much else. Would he benefit more as a character and as a wrestler by staying on NXT? The same could be asked about Bayley or Chad Gable or Enzo or Cass or anybody like that. What do you think? Would it be better suited that there are characters that, even though they're veterans, such as Drew McIntyre, they stay on NXT?
To a point, yes, but with some characters, I feel like they're destined for the main roster. Let's compare two names for a second. Ty Dillinger versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you're already going to be like, they're two totally different people, but hear me out.
No. I'm hearing. I'm not Andy. I will hear every point out.
No, you are wrong because I am right.
No, you are wrong about everything because I love Conor McGregor. All right, and we're not talking about Conor fucking McGregor. All right. Anyway, proceed.
So, Ty Dillinger throughout NXT was always a jobber. That's all he ever was. He just got really over with the crowd. He was never in the main event, really, which is fine. But to say that he's doing nothing on the main roster, what could he have done? He was never going to be world champion. He's never going to be... He could be mid-card champion, but I think the mid-card is already too bloated.
Well, that's
there's already too many people in there, and I think that's a problem in itself. But I think Ty is fine as he is. He's just there to enhance others, and he's really good at doing it. So I don't see any problem with what they're doing.
That's the issue, though. There is nothing that he can do. He's just really over, but there's nothing. What's the point of having a character that is that over with the crowd and he's doing nothing when you've got people who are fucking charisma vacuums, Jinder Mahal, who are doing far better? I feel that I can understand what you're saying, but Ty Dillinger is over with the crowd. If they're not using him on the main roster, why doesn't he go back to NXT? It's not a demotion. NXT could do something with him. I'm not saying he'll be NXT champion or anything, but he could help elevate other young stars who will then go onto the main roster.
I mean, he could, but he was there for 10 years, and he never did anything wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying he was there for 10 years, and he never really did anything there either. He just got super over because he had a good gimmick.
What about characters like Bayley, who did so well in NXT and then just got kind of mishandled on the main roster?
That I still can't believe happened. Like, you had everything there. You had Bayley really, really, really popular, but then they just destroyed her, and I don't understand why that even happened. I don't get what the idea was.
I think the Raw writers didn't know how to handle her. You got to remember, the thing is, the NXT writers have an advantage because they made Bayley this big character. You know, she started off as a nobody, and then through the writing of the character and through her matches, she became a big character to the point where her and Sasha were main eventing. Because that's the thing. When it was Bayley and Sasha at takeovers and main eventing takeovers, it felt legitimate. It felt natural. Sasha versus Charlotte main eventing Hell in a Cell in a Hell in a Cell match felt like it was being done to make history, as opposed to it being natural. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a problem with main roster booking over NXT booking, which has always been at odds with each other anyway.
Well, I think the main issue is that, you know, you've got these characters that you know, NXT has done amazing things for both WWE and the network, and a lot of the stars that are in NXT or have moved on. I mean, look at Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins. How can we forget Seth Rollins, the first NXT champion?
Roman Reigns.
Dean Ambrose, right? It has helped a lot of people. But
my point was that some characters are destined to do things like that, and then you have other characters who are maybe destined to just put over people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think Ty going back down to NXT would make a difference if he's just going to do the same thing.
I was going to say, like, I was going to go into the point that, you know, you look at how WWE used to handle the developmental territories in that it wasn't advertised to the main WWE audience. You know, NXT is part of WWE canon, whereas you compare to 10 years ago with OVW, like OVW, I didn't even know what OVW was until I started.
OVW, the glory days where build 'em up would beat the shit out of you every single day.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that you've got, you know, you had John Cena. John Cena in OVW was called the fucking prototype.
He was the Terminator.
Yeah, right? Could you imagine that version of John Cena coming to the main roster with all the history that he had? Like, they acknowledged his entire OVW history when he debuted against Kurt Angle.
I mean, my headcanon has always been that he is still the prototype. This is just a new programming they put into him.
Okay, that's an interesting way to.
That would explain why he always wins his matches, because he's a fucking cyborg. It explains his accelerated healing, because it takes less time to repair robots than it does humans. It lines up.
I mean, okay, but you see what I'm trying to say in that NXT creates these characters, and then because NXT is on the network, a lot of people are a lot more exposed to that than they were for, say, Florida Championship Wrestling, Deep South Wrestling, OVW. So you get characters like Enzo and Cass, like American Alpha, like Bailey, who did really well in NXT, and then because they have this expectation and this history and this origin story, like, you know, you look at most of the big stars from the Ruthless Aggression era, like Cena, Batista. Okay, Batista started off as Reverend Devon's lackey, so I guess that's not a great example.
Well, technically, he started as the Leviathan in FCW.
Well, that was in OVW. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, NXT, they have this history, and then they move straight onto WWE with the same character, the same gimmick, whereas originally 10 years ago they didn't. Has that harmed it? Because,
well, yeah, you need to look no further than Bo Dallas to see how it harms people. Do you even know why his thing is Bo Leave? Do you know why that's his thing? Or was before?
Wasn't that an internet thing? Wasn't that an
No,
internet thing?
It's because when he became NXT champion and everyone really, really hated him, everyone chanted Bo Leave, as in leave the ring, but he took it to mean believe, Bo Leave.
Oh.
So that's how you see, if that was never made clear, so he just shows up as the guy from Donnie Darko, the motivational speaker, and everyone's like, what is this? No one knows how to handle it, and I think it's unfair that you need that prior subtext. Just do that with people on the main roster. Why do you? I always have to be developmental. Development. Just because you're on the main roster, that doesn't mean you can't develop these characters and give them a story, like what they're kind of trying to do with Dolph Ziggler right now.
I think. Let's talk about ultimately. That. Okay, go on. You seem to be a bit more positive about this Dolph Ziggler thing than I am.
Well, it's not that I'm positive about it. I still don't like Dolph Ziggler. I just understand it more than you do, because you were talking to me about it last night.
Well, I felt like, you got to remember, I haven't watched a SmackDown fully all the way through for quite a while, just because 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, fucking 205 Live, NXT. That's fucking 7 hours of a week. 7 hours, everybody. Right? Then you got fucking 4, 5 hours, 6 pay-per-views, fucking whatever with, you know, there's too much programming.
Everything is wrestling.
Right? So I haven't sat and watched it properly. So I just saw Dolph Ziggler. He's come out as a fucking Ultimate Warrior, and then he came out as Randy Savage, and he's come out as Shane McMahon. And I feel like, are they doing to him what they tried to do with Charlie Haas, what they did with Damian Sandow? Is that what they're doing? Like, they're just making him, I mimic other wrestlers. Now, Sam said that apparently that's not true. I haven't watched SmackDown all the way through to actually know.
No, here's the deal with it. So Ziggler, he had a couple of backstage interviews, and everyone was like, hey, it's Dolph Ziggler. Where have you been? So then he's cutting backstage promos being like, everyone's all flash, everyone's all character. Nobody can do what I can do in that ring. By the way, to which I say, yes, they can, and they can do it a fuck ton better. Sit down. But he's got this thing in his head where he's like, everyone is an entrance now. So now he's coming out and he's cutting these weird, like, open mic night promos where he's basically ripping on people who have all entrance and no wrestling ability. So he's coming out as people like Naomi, the Ultimate Warrior, John Cena. And some of those you can argue, yeah, they can wrestle, like Savage as well, but he's just been coming out, trying out new entrances. Which superstar recently made his debut on SmackDown, and he has a really elaborate entrance?
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode. They're clearly setting up a feud for Ziggles and Roode, wherein Ziggles is going to put over Roode because that's all he's good for nowadays.
Can I just say, I don't know if anyone else feels this, but is it a bit strange to see Bobby Roode as a babyface? Am I the only one that finds that a bit? I'm not saying it doesn't work, but
was he ever a babyface in TNA? As a singles guy, not as part of like Beer Money. Was he ever a singles face in TNA?
You know, you're asking the wrong person. I never watched
TNA. You clearly pay more attention to like the Roode era of TNA than I ever did. Because you talked about it every week, I assume.
The era that I knew of was about 2005 to about 2007, 2008.
Okay, so a bit before Roode. Yeah, Roode was like 2011, I think.
No. Roode has been there from the beginning. He was part of Team Canada.
Oh, right, yeah. But I mean, as like a main event guy.
As a main event guy, I never knew him as a babyface. He was with Team Canada, and then they split up. He then became basically a Rick Rude character. And then he joined James Storm and made Beer Money. I didn't watch it when he became a main star on NXT. They all blend into one nowadays.
TNA, GFW, NXT, Ring of Honor.
There you go. When he was in TNA, Impact Wrestling or whatever.
But yeah, I feel like he hasn't really been a singles. Okay, apparently he did have a face run as well, champ. I never saw it. The only thing I've really seen of Roode is his heel runs. They're a lot better. Apparently, people say that he's a lot better as a heel. I have to agree because in NXT he was a good heel, even though everyone cheered and sang his theme song.
Well,
so I don't know if that's a good heel or not.
Well, for me, it's about depth because I feel like as a villain and him having such a grandiose entrance that people just can't help but sing along to and enjoy, like that, you kind of loved. Like you felt bad to enjoy it so much. You know what I mean? Like I'm not comparing it, but to this at all. But I'm just saying, have you ever seen Reservoir Dogs?
Yes.
You know the bit where he cuts off his ear?
Stuck in the Middle with You.
Right. It's a good song. It's a catchy song. You start tapping your toes, but a guy's getting tortured. And you feel a bit conflicted about it because you're kind of enjoying it. You're there in the moment enjoying the song, but the guy's getting tortured. He's getting his ear cut off. And I feel, I'm not trying to compare it because obviously it's not, but...
It reminds me of a time in Progress where Jimmy Havoc literally did that to Will Ospreay. Like, he literally taped him up in a chair. They played Stuck in the Middle with You, and he had a switchblade, and he wanted to cut off Will Ospreay's ear. And everyone was booing the fuck out of him, and it was lovely. I loved it. I love Progress. It's much better than WWE. We should talk about Progress.
The point being is that what I liked about Bobby Roode was that he was such a villain. He wasn't a very nice guy, and yet he had this grandiose entrance you just couldn't help but get into. Like, you know, the crowd would chant "glorious" at the top of their voices, and it would be the lighting and the smoke, and just you couldn't help but love it. But you hated that you loved it. Do you know what I mean? And I felt that gave it a bit more depth. But now that he's a babyface, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of... I don't know. I feel it's a bit weird and it's not really suiting him. I think it would have been much better.
Well, he's fallen into the same old formula that every NXT call-up seems to fall into, unless you're like a select few, wherein they come up, they just have matches against random people, and then they get put into a storyline. Whereas you have people like Joe who immediately get called up and put into a story that makes you care about them. Roode, for some reason, was never given that. And I don't get why, because he's one of the biggest facets NXT has had the past year. You think they would have something ready for him upon arrival, but no. You gotta put Dolph Ziggler out there dressed as Naomi to really build this feud.
Well, I think it's because...
I don't get it.
I think it's because they don't even know when they're calling someone up. Triple H is just like... Oh, yeah. Why is he Randy Savage?
Why is he Randy Savage, Liam? Oh, yeah, I'm in NXT.
Yeah. He just says, "I'm going to bring up Bobby Roode," and that's what happens. And then the writing team's like,
"Why are you bringing up Bobby Roode, Mr. H? Because he
yeah.
lost at Takeover, and he's never getting a rematch."
Oh yeah, he lost to Drew McIntyre. Yeah, snap into a Slim Jim. Why is Triple H Randy Savage?
Why are you still doing that?
Why is he Randy Savage?
He's not Randy Savage. You realize this, right?
Randy Savage. Oh, yeah.
Triple H was not Bonesaw.
Bro, Triple H is ready. The game is ready. What the fuck are we even talking about now?
Bobby Roode on the main roster. Yeah, it's weird as a face. He'll turn heel soon, and then he'll fight Nakamura, maybe. I don't know. I don't like the fantasy book because it gets my hopes up, and then, oh, look, it's the Royal Rumble. Jinder's still champion for some reason.
Jinder wins the Rumble, but he's still the champion. Exactly. He will be champion forever. Oh my god. WrestleMania main event. Jinder Mahal versus Jinder Mahal. That'll get the Indian market. There you go.
Why is there a second Jinder Mahal now? Where did he come from?
Because they want that Indian market, bro. So just clone Jinder, have him win the Royal Rumble, and then Jinder versus Jinder. Because apparently they have no other people that anybody in India likes. Like, you know,
Jinder Mahal is
John
the only
Cena.
Indian person ever.
Ever in the history of anything. He's the only Indian person.
I have the power of 1.3 billion Jinder Mahal. Sorry, Janie. Oh god, I forgot she was here. Fuck's sake.
It's fine. It's fine. You said it, not me.
Someone had to. Someone had to be the racist of the episode.
I left
Make
that
it me.
behind. I left that gimmick behind. You're the one who picked it up and ran with it.
Look, I'm sorry, Janie. I don't know what you want me to do. I forget that you are of... But I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna say maybe we should leave it there.
I think we should leave it there. I think we've ranted long enough. Plus, I need a shower.
Lovely. So you can find us on Facebook. You can also find us on Twitter and on Instagram. What's the name of the social media accounts?
The Suplah.
There you go. You put it in there and you'll find us. We have a store, redbubble.com/people/Suplah. Buy a shirt. Buy a lot. Buy a shirt so I can buy a boat.
We'll never afford a boat in a million years.
No, we can barely afford a custom URL. We have a gaming channel where I'm doing a Nuzlocke, and I think it's okay. People are enjoying it, I think. Go watch it and tell me if you like it.
I'm also doing Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. That has come back for a short period of time, whilst I've got some free hours to handle that. Do I beat Neo Cortex? You'll have to find out in the next part.
Exciting.
I mean, it's obvious I fucking do, because otherwise it's just the end of the fucking
Well, that's
thing.
the end of the series, guys. I couldn't beat Neo. I'm sorry.
Just the end of it. But yes, keep an eye out for that, because once that's finished, I have to go on to collect all the gems so we can move on to the third game. I'm
super excited. People are asking, where is Andy? Might as well leave off the show with that note. Where's Andy? Where's Andy?
Can I feel like I need to say something, and he's going to kill me if I say it, but I have some breaking news that I don't think
we're live. Let's do it.
I'm going to do it because I've got my phone on airplane mode. He can't call me, and I don't think he's watching.
No, he's not watching, because he never watches anything that we do when we learn this.
I'm going to break some news here.
Oh, this. Right. Yeah, I kind of forgot that this happened because it's so underwhelming to me now. Please continue.
For 4 years, Andrew Kwon had
4 years. 4 years. The length of the American Civil War.
For about 4.5 years, Andy Kwon had a dry spell.
The streak, we called it here.
I can now confirm.
Remember 2 years ago when it was all we talked about?
It's all he talked about for 2 years after that as well.
Yeah.
I can now confirm that the streak is over. It's a new day. Yes, it is. And with that, with that bombshell,
so hey,
he had
might as well
sex
have done it maybe 2 years ago when people still cared, Andy. But better late than never, right?
So with that, and I'm sure he'll be on next week's episode unless he's busy doing something else.
Having sex.
Oh God, it's still a weird thing to think of. It's like if you had a kid and then you realize your kid's having sex. It's just strange and abnormal, and it shouldn't be happening.
You view Andy as your kid? I'm so
also,
sorry.
Also, super Chesney said that Andy is hotter than Liam.
No, he's
I
not.
have a girlfriend of like 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I've had my girlfriend for longer. Well, his streak.
Where were you 4 years ago, Super Chasney?
Yeah, where were you 4 years ago? Andy's streak was longer than my I don't know who that makes sound worse. The point is,
well, it's longer than my relationship, which is 4 years old today. So,
hey, there you go.
Thanks. Anyway. All right. Yeah,
we're gonna leave it there on that bombshell. That Andy, that the streak is over. It's like the Undertaker all over again.
Except instead of feeling overwhelming sadness, I don't give a shit.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Let me figure out the buttons because Andy didn't tell me. Bye.